So when we have to have the holistic perspective of the climate governance, then we will have to essentially go back to the climate governance taking place in the developed nations. What kind of governance happened there, and how we are differentiating ourselves from it. So that comparison means data empirical way it can be done. Then comes the implementation part. So suppose we have all combined the data. We have this, okay, if we create this vertical, this will solve this problem. If we create this vertical, this will solve this problem. The vertical would be based on the technology, innovative ideas, and then implementation which has been done in those countries which are called developed. So here when we talk about the technology and innovation, now we must need to see who is ultimately going to be the implementer of these technologies and innovations. It is majorly in the government sector that is going to plan the policy, that is going to bring out the policy on the basis of industrial input. And then implementation part will be in the hands of those people who are working in the government sectors. So I will give you one of my very first case. I'm talking about Ganga Action Plan I was dealing in. I'm just citing an example, and then I'll cite another example to look at the problem from the perspective. We all would know what is climate governance. By the definition I can go through, read through this and various other aspects. There are various protocols which have been signed. So I really want to talk about the real problem. And from my perspective, what could be the real problem? So in my experience back in time, I was a very, I though may look young, but I'm already 24 years in practice in law. So back in 2001, I was given a case. This was pertaining to Ganga Action Plan. So River Ganga means this particular project was given to UP Jal Nigam for cleaning the Ganga. So back in 93, Mr. Rajiv Gandhi, as then he was the Prime Minister, he had started Ganga Action Plan. Several thousand crores had already spent in cleaning the Ganga. So when phase 1 finished, it got transpired that Ganga was much more dirtier than what it was back in 93. So therefore, it recalled for certain assessments and of course minute calibrations as to why it has happened so. But instead of doing that, GAP 2 was launched, and the same implementing agency was awarded the contract for GAP 2. So GAP 1, which was complete failure, so the government agencies decided to award the contract to GAP 2 to also the same agency. So there were certain very important parameters which were required to be seen, like demography of the areas which are going along with the previous Ganga. So sewage treatment plants. Suppose the topography of the area was such that the sewage treatment plant in 60% of the areas where those were installed would be submerged during around 6 to 8 months of an year. So how the sewage would be treated? So therefore the sewage would directly flow into Ganga without getting the treatment done. Similarly, there were the other very important aspects. So I do not want to waste all your time on those nitty-gritties. I just want to make a point. So the implementing agency was doing the work, and that implementing agency, despite the fact that there can be any technology, there can be innovation, but who is going to implement? So that means somewhere we need to improve our manpower, who is going to look after the implementation of such a critical aspect pertaining to environment. That would look into the very aspect, are we serious and how much we are serious? What kind of education we are providing today? Are we providing the sensitization pertaining to environment? That is totally missing in the school syllabus even today. The elementary level education which is provided is the formative education where we learn what we learn and we carry it forward for all our lives. So something in the educational curriculum we need to imbibe so that the kids at that elementary level could learn the best of the practices. So in that direction, we had last year launched Environment Security Forces. So the basic idea of that environment security force is to train those people, those kids from the age of 6 to 14 years. So our training is going to be imparted only to those people, to those kids who are from the age of 6 to 14 years. We are going to imbibe in them those very important parameters as to how to create sustainability, how to keep the environment clean. And why so? India is a country where more than 65% people are less than 30 years of age. And in that, a big chunk of people are of those young boys and girls is there, which is more than say around 40 crore plus, which is less than 18. So out of a population of 140 crore, we have around 100 crore youth. So in such a scenario, we can definitely work on that, but then ultimately, who implements the policies? Policy is within the hand of government and then policy advisors. So this is one very important aspect which is required to be looked into and worked on thoroughly so that we could cure the problem which is recurring. Recurring problem, it is the human resource problem which is because of which it is recurring. You can bring in the technology, you can bring in the innovation, but the people who are going to implement are just honest. They are not very serious about this. So how do we make them serious is a very important question that I would ask and would work on that. So from this platform, I want to echo that particular idea that I have. Similarly, in government agencies, there is a problem. I am a standing counsel for NHI as well for a very long time. So the phenomena as it used to be, whenever a highway project is going to be awarded, so before the award, the highway authority should have acquired the land. Very simple. But it was always so for last so many decades that the highway authority first issue the NIT, call for bid, award the contract, and thereafter the acquisition process will start. So therefore, the project will delay maybe enormously for 5 to 10 years, and then the cost will be escalated. So I am just talking about the basic common sense. Now the highway authority had started doing it. They have started issuing the NIT only after the acquisition of land. So it saves a lot of time, government funds. So I am just talking about if anybody from the government, we are responsible. So we should take it as if we are responsible for the Mother Earth. And to be responsible, we have to do our work in the most intelligent way possible. And most intelligent way possible is the simple way that we ask the question, what we should do in a particular situation. Apply our mind a little. Think about it, not the way things are getting done, but it has to be in a way that whether we ask the question to ourselves, whether it would be the right way to do or implement a particular thing or to carry out a particular task. And that particular, this small change of view, outlook can change the entire thing in the regard to the environment perspective. We talk about the governance and awareness. My learned friend had asked me that with regard to awareness, I should speak something. So governance is directly proportional to the awareness. So any governance would fail if the awareness of people, when people are the responsible contributors. Who are the contributors to the environment? We all are. We all are using water, all are using roads, soil, everything. So we are the contributors. Each of us is the contributor. What kind of responsibility do we carry with us? Are we really stopping to waste the resources, the natural resources? Are we taking any step towards it? So the contributors have to improve in their own attitude. We all have. I have improved myself. I may fail somewhere, but still I just apply my mind whether it should be done in this particular manner or not. So therefore the answer comes. So that very thought, that very small thought for a fraction of a second or maybe 5 seconds or 10 seconds, it changes the way. It means it is called reframing in law. that you want to speak a sentence, there is a situation where somebody has misbehaved with you and that you want to retort that. But diplomacy calls for reframing. And reframing is that we take a pause. Take a pause for that period of time, for that fraction of second, and think what I want to do and what I should do. So the difference between what I want to do and what I should do, if we are able to recognize it, we are able to reframe ourselves on this pendulum, then in that case many things can be solved. And of course, there are a host of things which I wanted to talk, and my office had prepared a note for me, but I thought to skip and talk about the human power, human resource, instead of reading that note. And another very important aspect is e-waste is a critical problem. India is one of the biggest hub in several areas. India is consuming the e-waste of globe. A lot of e-waste is coming in territory, and there is no way to really be able to dispose of. So ultimately, we are going to poison our soil, our own soil. So I don't know what is happening. Government is really not doing anything in this. There is the markets in Delhi are the biggest in the world of the e-waste. We need to think about it. We need to do something. Of course, we all are contributors. I will try to do whatever I can do wherever there is an opportunity and whenever I think that I can do. So with that, I leave the note. Thank you very much for hearing me. Thank you very much.